Episode 294 of the TV Dudes, recorded August 5th, 2020. Les likes anime now. It is a momentous episode for the TV Dudes as Les discovers that he likes anime now. Well,
what?
Okay, at least one anime, because we're going to talk about Transformers War for Cybertron over on Netflix. We are also going to check in on Umbrella Academy Season 2 on Netflix, and we're going to talk about the latest iteration of the Muppets on Disney+. But before we get to all that, I am Randy.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Les.
And we're the TV Dudes, and we like anime now.
I mean, if you listen to last week's episode, I actually did like Kill la Kill.
Yes.
Especially after I found the video essays, which, did you get to watch any of those?
No, I've still not watched the video.
I'm going to harass you about it later.
All right.
I'll get you. But yeah, I was digging that one, so I may fall in that camp.
I was not super hyped for this based on the trailer, and we'll talk about it more later in the show, but I started hearing from friends that it was good, and I gotta say I burned through it, and I've rewatched it a few times, and it's very watchable.
Yeah, really enjoyed. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Wait, are we talking about Transformers? Kill la
yes.
Kill.
Transformers.
Oh, I was like, you're rewatching Kill la Kill, Randy?
No, I'm not rewatching Kill la Kill. There's only so much money the Patreon gives us. Let's be real here.
Alone in a darkened room.
Speaking of,
Randy watches Kill la Kill.
it is a good time to remind you that you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes. You throw us $1 an episode. In exchange, we keep up with our various streaming services, and there are a lot of them, and we're trying to delve in and try some other stuff, maybe dip into one or two every few months, and at the same time it covers our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This particular week, we're going to talk about the films of Samara Weaving, who we all think is going to be a household name real soon, possibly after Bill and Ted Face the Music comes out.
I mean, you're onto something there.
Also, we've got a new showrunner level, which is, we talked about this last week, but Tyler Thorson has requested that we watch Dark Side of the Ring on Vice via Hulu, that's coming up. And I want to give a hearty welcome aboard to our new patron, Paul Mampilli.
Yeah!
What? Jumping on the bandwagon. Thanks, Paul.
Yes, thank you to all our patrons. And if you want to be a patron, go over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us $1 an episode. You get bonus content. We get streaming services. Everybody wins. Now I believe it is time for the Power Ranking.
Power Rankings.
Yes.
Oh, and we're still rocking the theme music, right?
Oh, of course.
Nice. Yeah, the first week that theme music kicked in, I was a little caught off guard, but I'm well seasoned to this now.
It's the Power Rankings.
As I'm sure our listeners are, because this is a little thing we do. We used to rank shows ourselves, and then we realized we're unqualified. All right, we need to go to the experts. All right, the internet, IMDb, Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody's ranking out there. So why don't we just add them all together, create a little spreadsheet, and then rank everything we talk about for the year? The Power Rankings. And we got a few shows to talk about that we covered last week. One I was kind of surprised about, that Brave New World over on Peacock, which I was kind of digging, and if it wasn't for the paywall, I'd probably still be watching. 250 out of 400. That's the 82 spot.
You think that's the
list.
Britishness hurting it?
Oh, I do think that the fact that the New World is British and then the Old World is or the Savage Lands are American is completely intentional. They know modern TV audiences think British people are smarter and better,
and villains,
and totally villains. But then, which this is kind of a cheat, but back-to-back weeks we talked about Kill la Kill because of Patreon, quite a bit higher, which is remarkable because we don't even have all the numbers for it. There's no Metacritic rating for Kill la Kill, the TV show, just the video game. But it's still in our number 67 spot, up there tied with Reprisal and Interrogation.
Okay, yeah.
I see a note here that says insufficient.
Yeah.
Is that just for me?
Oh no, that's so that's when the Metacritic didn't have a ranking for it.
I see.
So when this might be our highest scoring. Yeah, it's our highest scoring show that has a 0. Most everything that has a 0 is in the bottom.
Oh yeah, every other insufficient's below it.
To 106 spot. So that's pretty remarkable. And the thing is, it does have a cult following. I found a lot of people talking about this show online because it was just so weird. I was like, I need to know why people like this.
I mean, I recommend Super Jail to a lot of people, and I'm sure that's not everybody's cup of tea. So, like, there was a lot about Kill la Kill that was awesome. There's just a lot about anime that's weird to me.
Yeah. Moving far away from anime. Again, another back-to-back show, but we talked about The Capture last week over on Peacock as well, which, again, a pretty great show. Paywall, all that. But that
Quite
is
British.
higher on our list. That's on the number 39 spot, which I think it shifted a spot or two from last week because we had a real contender, guys. I was kind of surprised with this one. Number 29 spot, or number 30 spot, actually technically tied for 28 with Evil on CBS and Doom Patrol, which is now on HBO Max. But that's the Psych 2 Lassie Come Home special over on Peacock. Yeah, it got a 93 audience score over on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm not
putting
surprised.
It super high on our list.
I'm not surprised by this because the Psych is beloved, and I think
Yes.
this was definitely one of their go-to. Like, this was one of the reasons people wanted to watch Peacock. That and 30 Rock, which 30 Rock turned out to be a massive disappointment.
Yeah, so this was fun. Yeah, I'm
where's
realizing
that
how
on
much
our
stuff in the
list?
20s and 30s
Can we
I
go down
watch.
that one?
Wow.
Oh my gosh, 30 Rock special is number 99 on our list.
Yeah,
It's got a 0 audience score.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is funny because it
it's
came out
rough.
at the same time.
yeah, it's rough.
It beat Ultimate Tag.
Yeah, it beat reality shows. But yeah, no, that's our top show of last week, the
Yeah.
Psych special.
Yeah.
But you keep writing about it on the internet. We'll keep talking about what you're writing about.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, and then that's the power rankings. Thank you, Kyle, as
Yeah.
always.
Brought to you by TV Dudes.
So we're moving right along this week, guys. It is time to talk about new business.
New business.
Yeah, no, old business this week.
Yeah,
No,
not really.
I am making my way through Better Call Saul season 5. So next week, I'll talk about that.
Oh, nice.
I am not
That
sure
would be good.
when it's going to come out, so I haven't really talked about it, but I've been sitting in on episodes with Nick Tice on a show I believe he's calling Going the Social Distance that is just looking at 4-season and higher binge shows.
Okay.
And so we watched a shitload of Steven Universe and The Good Wife, and I think he's currently watching Psych, but it's all shows like that and discussing like what makes or doesn't make a good binge show. How up are you to get into something brand new during all of this, or do you just want to rewatch, Chuck again or
Right.
something like that? But so that's most of my old business, I guess, has been filled with like bizarre rewatches. I'm watching a bunch of Gravity Falls right now, which I've never seen before.
Oh, that is one I am like 3 episodes in, but I love the art style, and it's another one that just people love across the board.
Yes,
So it's,
yeah, he was telling me, he's like, this is like a giant crazy ass Adventure Time level love for this show.
yeah, and it looks like it's in the same woods that like Angry Beavers was in. I don't know if you got any Angry Beaver fans listening, but
So yeah, that's my old business. Has all been binge watching shit with Tice.
Oh, okay. All right. So we may have some old business next week. This week, though, all new business. And let's start with talking about the anime that broke the TV dudes. That is Transformers War for Cybertron. Now, this is
robots.
really anime.
Robot. Well, the reason I brought it up, folks, the reason that we're talking about this as anime and the whole title of this episode is because in the middle of watching this, I texted the other TV dudes because the opening credits. This is produced by Netflix Anime, like a subdivision of Netflix, like Netflix Anime Presents. And I was like, it's anime. It's anime. They have it in the title. It's right there in the credits. It's anime. And I was like, there, we found an anime I like. It just needs to be robots and not high school with sex as a principal plot thrust. So the Transformers, robots in disguise, only nobody has to disguise anything except for Mirage. But this is back on Cybertron. So
this is a trilogy they're doing. It's based on the new toys. I know this because my coworker Nick is a huge toy head.
No idea there were new toys.
This. Yeah, always new toys.
I mean, it makes sense, but sure.
So this is it's sort of a revamp, but it's like the phrase I keep hearing bandied about with my friends is a lot of love for G1, Generation 1 Transformers, which is the original stuff that some of us watched when we were kids.
Yeah, there were no Transformers after that, so. There was the 85 movie, and then the property lay fallow.
Les, you and I think have the same nostalgic attachment to Transformers then, which is like I watched the shows and I really loved the movie, and then I fell off it almost entirely.
I'm not saying I did not own a shitload of GoBots, but Transformers were vastly superior in their backstory.
Oh man, GoBots were so janky.
But but I had so many of them.
That's what parents would buy you because I don't know the difference.
We got
a robot car.
We got Transformers at home. Transformers at home are GoBots.
Yeah,
Kyle,
Leader One, he was my dude.
Kyle, what about you?
So I actually didn't grow up with this.
Okay,
Yeah, I think my early days of like getting the kind of cartoon that was also a toy commercial probably started with Ninja Turtles for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I think, which was right after this, but I missed out on that whole craze of like Transformers toys. So even when the animated film came out that everybody loves, it just kind of flew past me.
Yeah. So did you watch? Have you seen like the Michael Bay stuff or?
I poked around with that. I gave the first one a fair shot, but again, it's I think Spill compared it to like the Jeffersons if all the junk cars started fighting each other. Like, it's just so hard to see what's going on in the Michael Bay movies because there's all these different pieces moving, and
those magnet desk sets of little diamonds where they're like little flat pieces of diamond. That's what every Transformer in every Michael Bay movie looks like to me.
Yep.
Is like getting attacked by those desk sets from the 80s.
Well, and the thing about those Transformers movies is that they cost so much money to make them, like those Michael Bay movies, that they lose money if they don't make another one reusing some of the assets.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry Potter was like that for a while. Those sets were so expensive, you almost had to reuse them so you could make your money back on how much you spent initially.
Yeah, the Transformers movies killed whatever love I had left remaining for Transformers, and that stayed dead until they made the Bumblebee movie last year or two, and that was great.
I was shocked by how fun and how, I mean, really, you should, Kyle, if you've not seen the Bumblebee movie, you should give it a shot. I was stunned.
Oh, yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah,
so fun.
It's basically like an 80s period piece Iron Giant.
Yes, and I very much did not want to watch it because of how much the Transformers sucked all the oxygen out of the room for these. So this cartoon, when I was a kid, Transformers were awesome robot trucks and shit, right?
Yeah.
They were all we knew about their backstory is that they had crashed here and were like refugees from a war. Like they were fighting a war and they fled and landed here, kind of janky and broken.
And they were always like working. They were always alongside humans, and they had disguised themselves to live in our world.
Well, because they basically doomed us. Like they had drawn their war here, and were now obligated to keep us from being killed by the people that had followed them here, the Decepticons. And that's really all we knew. And then that '85 movie came out, and I don't think it would. I mean, there wasn't the internet and all the ways to find out whether things were hits or got their money back or whatever, but I remember that really just confusing the living fuck out of everybody because it didn't deal, like in the opening parts of that movie, basically most of the they were trying to introduce a new toy line, I think, and like basically all of the robots that you knew died.
Kill off the pre-existing toy line.
So like all the robots you knew died, and then shit got like a whole jumped a whole story maturity level deep on like how crazy this backstory went, and just went nuts. And like I think it was the Crucible that either made or broke like little kid Transformer fans at the time. Like you either came out of it like, well, that mess is fucked up, or you came out of it going, oh my god, Transformers is like amazing.
Yeah. It was set in the far future of 2005.
And 2005, yes. Yes. With Orson Welles and Leonard Nimoy and Eric Idle and like the voice cast is nuts.
It's tons of fun, yeah.
So when I sat down to this, I wasn't going to watch it because it's CG, and I really don't care for it. Like, the look of it is a little weird. It took me a little while to get used to Megatron's face. But Dave Farabee, a friend of ours, had recommended it and really surprised him, and it harkened back. He basically name-checked all of the Transformers stuff I did love. And so when I sat down to watch it, I got kind of sucked into... I mean, I'm not saying that this is like Phantom Thread or like the next... Kubrick movie or something, but like, but I got sucked into like how they were handling the retelling of the story, how they were trying to justifiably set up the betrayals and whatnot, which all work out pretty well. Some of it's a little rushed because it's CG fucking robots, but all in all, I was fairly impressed. I was shocked that I ended up watching all 6 half-hour episodes of this.
6 episodes, yeah. You burn through it fast, and it definitely you get to the point. This is a trilogy, and this part is all taking place on Cybertron.
Yes, which gets into they have retconned yet again how these robots function and like what runs them and what runs the planet. But I kind of like that fear. The thrust of these 6 episodes is the Allspark that is why these robots function and why this planet functions, and the intention of one side to weaponize it and the other side's basically going to take it off planet to prevent that.
I really liked... So one of the things that the Transformers comics do that has kind of put me off of them is that they've gotten into a lot of stuff of like, you'll get issues where it's just Transformers talking to each other. And I'm like, and I appreciate anybody who tries to elevate a concept. Like, I love me some good superhero stuff that elevates the concept, but when you're giving me giant robots, I want there to be transforming robots and shooting, and I don't necessarily want like a lot of political machinations and all that. And I thought this did a good job of walking that middle ground of there's a lot of blasting and action and that kind of thing, and a good, solid, easy to follow plot. But at the same time, they give us a little ambiguity in terms of like Ultra Magnus being a less of a idealist, or maybe even less of a fanatic than either Megatron or Optimus Prime, and Bumblebee being like, instead of being the heart of the Transformers he usually is, he is like a scrappy energon
outsider,
seeker.
yeah.
I thought that was a good little tweak.
Fucking is it not Soundwave? Shockwave basically being a Nazi scientist.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's was it Mengele or whatever that guy's name was?
Mengele.
Like, he's like, you could just sit like, I have another secret project that's a virus that'll kill the whole planet.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck would you make? Why? What?
Why did you do that? Yeah.
Also, tell me more.
Also,
like,
I thought the backdrop, the history of all this was interesting. Like, they keep making references to Alpha Trion and how they give a little bit of shading to this. Like, the Autobots were the sort of the energon sipping elitists, while the Decepticons were like the guys working the mines and gladiators, and they sort of had an uprising, and now they're trying to take out the revenge of the planet. I'm like, well, yes, they're evil. They're called the Decepticons, but clearly they had a beef.
But they allude even further back to like Optimus and Megatron and Ultraman all fighting on the same side. So it sounds like at some point, and I don't know how much they're going to blend in like the weird squid shit from the movie and stuff.
Right.
Like there were like advanced, the things that had built this planet of robots and then moved on because they got bored.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know whether they're going to bring that kind of stuff in, but I feel like they alluded to having risen up together at one point.
Yeah, they did.
And
He's
like
war buddies. Yeah.
Yeah. So like if I kept picturing like if the Ford automation plant rose up and freed itself from the shackles of humans, and then over time, like the chess machines and the car building machines are like, fuck you, tea sipping elitist sons of bitches.
I also liked the stuff they did with Jetfire, where he's basically, anyone who watched the cartoon, you're like, oh, that guy's a good guy. But here he's like he's the boss of the Decepticons, like air wing, and then there's also
his whole thing worked for me.
And it's cool that it is the backstory where it's like all the, like Decepticons hate him, as well as, Autobots think he's a traitor. Like, he kind of has no friends. You're like, well, why do you even have allegiance with them then?
Yeah, I also liked what they did with Ratchet. This sort of guy who was like a weapons maker who became a conscientious objector, and the idea of sort of adding in these sort of third force of the people who just want to opt out of the war. I don't know if they've done they've probably done it in Transformers before, but I'd never seen it, and I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I liked Optimus Prime's acknowledgement of like, I mean, technically I did start the war because I didn't just go along with
being a
Megatron's boot heel. But in theory, like I can just stop this fighting at any time by giving up.
Yeah.
Which is a weird position to be in, like to acknowledge. I don't know. We should talk about the voice cast. I don't need to recognize anyone in a Transformers cartoon. In fact, I specifically would like to not, when possible, recognize people in cartoons like this.
Yeah.
Unless it's famous voice actors, for real.
But
like people who aren't,
yes, but just like, oh shit, you're you, like in every, like you're perfect at this kind of stuff. But whoever they have doing Optimus Prime is not
Peter Cullen.
Yeah.
He's not Peter Cullen. But I thought he did a good job.
No, he's
in fact,
perfect.
Early on, I'm like, wait, is that Peter Cullen? And I looked it up.
Yes, I did the same. It was, I think, Randy, you mentioned it maybe on Facebook or something in a comment that I had to go look up that it wasn't, because I just assumed, like...
Their voices are good. I like their Bumblebee. I like their Megatron. I think they did a good job on the voice cast. Also, I want to talk about the animation a little bit. And we should...
thank you. That's where I want to come in.
We should give Kyle a chance to badmouth this, because I believe he did not love it as much as you and I did.
It took a while for it to win me over, but Kyle, go on.
None of my gripes have anything to do with the story. I think that, like, you guys have made a lot of good points about the story, and even though, like, not having a background with Transformers, it really took me, like, into the second episode before I kind of, got invested in the story. My biggest gripe is with, and feel free to rebut, I know you guys are, but I just think this was done for really cheap. And I think the evidence to my argument is that it's a combination of 2D and 3D animation. Mm-hmm. So all the main characters are 3D, but then a lot of the sets are just like kind of quickly thrown together 2D backgrounds, which is a neat and cost-effective way to like get more animation done quicker. But the way that they do these 3D models is, being Transformers, it's much easier because of like the blockiness of it. Like you can essentially just put textures on there. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I thought like the style and the cell shading reminded me a lot of like Breath of the Wild, and kind of that style of anime. But the biggest thing where I'm like, nah, man, the lips.
Those were terrible.
If you
across almost all the faces, the faces look fucking awful.
Yeah. And I mean, the eyes and stuff, you can give a pass because, they're robots. They're not going to be super emotive. But they took a point of giving them humanoid lips that are just shaded the color of the robot. And it looked like Reboot from the 90s. The lips did.
So, like, particularly Megatron, like, Optimus has the face mask going, so he was always going to look okay.
Yeah.
And God, who's their Wheeljack? Like, the ones that have their faces covered worked way better for me. But Megatron, why would you not go and pry with a screwdriver, like, pop the weld of those lips off your stupid face?
Or make something that, like, maybe that's the part that looks like the Michael Bay movie, where it's, like, bits of, machinery that make the lips.
Because in the cartoon, they've always just got, like, the trapezoid just hole, basically.
Yeah. But these are like human lips with like dimples.
He's got like a Cupid's bow.
Yeah.
Nearly.
And this part I think is kind of just Transformers in general, but I feel like the main action of these characters is when they transform, like from the vehicles to their humanoid form. Mm-hmm. But then they're really blocky. I don't think these creatures are meant to do the same kind of kinetic fighting like a ninja or a John Wick would do. Like, I want to see like Godzilla type. When they hit each other, it's like almost slow motion and boom, and you get like a sense of the scale.
See, I don't think that. I think that's kind of would work against what they're trying to do here, which is they want us to forget that we're watching robots. They want us to think of these as characters and people. And so I think you want to scale that down deliberately to make it seem like these are soldiers fighting a war. This is not giant robots. Like, when they get to Earth and suddenly they're the giant robots contrasted against humans, then maybe. But right now, they want to keep us thinking them as characters, not as giants.
And that's what I'm hoping that they're going to do is use because the risk with going to Cybertron is all, like, with taking any of the Transformers story back to Cybertron, is that they don't transform very often. Like, there's only a few times when they need to like I think Optimus Prime is hauling ass out of a building or something. It's like the only time he turns into a truck type thing. Because why would they?
Or who's the jet guys at Starscream?
Starscream, yeah, like, and they make sense to at least transform and fly, but most of the car people or car bots or whatever don't transform. Right. And Cybertron just, you run into that story problem. So I was glad that they started at the point in the war they did, so that there was some action and some sniping down and blasters and shit. There were a few times where, like, what the character did, like the blocking of the scene, like turning and shooting, or like delivering their line, but the camera was placed literally on like their fist, or like where I was like, there are no accidental camera drifts in a CG animated or in an animated cartoon. You place that frame purposely every time. And so there were times where I was like, okay, the action of that was not, I don't know if that was a cost cut or what, but there were definitely scenes where the 2G and the 3D blend, or 2D and the 3D blend looked better at like an almost Futurama level of like, I know this ship is CG, but it's
these
working.
Are gripes. I think a lot of people aren't even going to notice the stuff I'm talking about.
I didn't.
Like, the lips are so small, like it's not
lips
until you get the close-ups and and then you can't miss the lips. But the good thing about this, I chose my words very carefully. Like, I think it looks cheap, but that also means if the story's good, we can crank these out quick.
Yeah.
Like, we can get a lot more of this.
So I want to talk about one other thing about the look of it, though.
Yeah.
I think the damaged look of it, like, these guys have been fighting a war for a long time, and like everybody from Megatron to everybody else has like scars on their body and that kind of stuff. I thought that was a really, I guess this comes from the toys, but I think it's a really interesting choice, and I think it does a lot for the sort of the gritty feel of the whole thing.
And I'm hoping that I'm hoping that they do this, that the jump to Earth next, like that they did this trilogy to set up so that I forget the scale. These are all just people interacting with each other, and I forget that these are all big robots on a big robot planet. And as soon as they land on Earth, they're going to be giant robots. Yeah. And so I'm really hoping that we get that maybe they were doing this and you lost that sense of scale in order to hit you with it when we drop on Earth, like to really make it odd. Now they fall through buildings and shit. They also make use of that scale even here, where they introduce the Guardian robots. You see them in the mist, and they're giants. And then the big reveal at the end, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's going to watch it, but it's a name transfer from the toys. They made him one of the Guardians, and that was a really cool, like, big, giant moment. Like, the big, it's your big cavalry moment, and I thought that was really interesting. Kyle, sorry, we were gonna say something as well.
Oh no, I have I kind of wanted to talk about the show a bit more because I have a general comment about anime, since we're now anime fans. Thanks, Les.
Yes, you're welcome.
So I learned. Are you guys familiar with Powerhouse Studios here in Austin, Texas?
No.
They do animation work for commercials and video games. Mm-hmm. They also did the Castlevania anime series.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
for Netflix. Yeah, but here's the thing. They're here in America.
Yeah.
Are we now doing anime? Is anime Netflix?
So
American dudes doing anime?
That's the thing. I guarantee you at least one fan of ours, probably multiple, have been yelling at us for the past 15 minutes that this is not anime.
Oh, I'm sure. I knew it when I texted y'all of like, I'm getting by on a technicality here. Netflix has included the word anime in their production company name in order to get money out of those fans' pockets.
Yeah.
But it is not anime.
Netflix is calling their stuff anime. They called this. They did the Castlevania. I feel like they've done a couple other things that they've called anime, and most of it is not anime. I mean, by definition, it's kind of stuff that's made overseas.
I thought it was, by definition, it had to be set in a high school with
with very little clothing. Here's what's so ironic about this and just makes me laugh, because I found out about the Castlevania thing because I found some like old job postings for like storyboard artists, and they include samples of like the anime style they're going for. But I went to art school, and teachers would crucify you if you did anything close to anime, and even to the point where like you were shamed out of it after your freshman year.
Every kid I see draw, though, that's all they want. Yeah. That's all they're practicing drawing, is getting that style down. It's
crazy to think there's now jobs where they want people who have that skill.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't talk. It's not like I didn't, in junior high and high school, didn't try to exactly ape Image comic style, or whoever my favorite comic artists were.
My first portfolio
And
for
got
like
shamed out of that shit in
college
college.
interviews, I had a Goku drawing in there. Side by side, Super Saiyan and normal.
Yeah, I watched a dude get bagged. You're exactly right. I watched somebody just get torn apart in a life drawing class about anime sketches that were in his sketchbook. Not even for the friggin' class. Just
Yeah.
because
But
the dude was
now,
a Dragon
How
Ball
dare
Z
you?
fan.
Yeah.
We're importing it. But no, I'm curious because, like you guys said, the story is good here. I did get a little nitpicky with some of that animation stuff. But, oh, actually, one more thing. Tangential, but did you guys ever see the lava short that Pixar did about the singing volcano?
Yeah.
So I got to listen to the guy gave a talk who wrote and directed that, and he talked about how whenever they do a short, it's always in service of like some technological advance. So like a good example would be the movie Brave. Like if you look at the hair, it was like a big jump for them in making realistic hair in animation.
Yeah.
And then all of their films benefit after that. So with Lava, what he set out to do was to create a character that was at that scale. So the size of a volcano that moved in the clouds but looked realistic, didn't look like a cartoon.
Right.
And I think they really nailed it. Like you feel like you're in a helicopter and the volcano is moving almost in slow motion because it's so far away as it's talking. So if they do bring Transformers to Earth and they start to play with the scale, which your comment about the scale was very pertinent, Randy. Like you definitely get more of a human aspect by not focusing on that. But it would be cool to see them push it and do something cool like that lava short with their, larger than life.
Yeah, I'm with you, Kyle. I really hope that they're doing this so that part of the benefit you get from starting out with this section on Cybertron is being able to maybe like really lean into how weird and crazy big and like fish out of water they are.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I think that when they go to Earth, I'll be disappointed if they don't emphasize the size a little bit more.
I don't know if I had a little bit easier time maybe wholesale accepting the CG when the story got good enough that it clicked. I knew I was going to hate this style. Like I wanted this, and like I don't know why this wasn't just animated. Please just animate it. But I love the sound foley.
Oh, sorry. Do you think they limit the action beats for the writers? They're like, we can't. Like we need another talking scene. We can't do an action scene right here.
I didn't think they were lacking in action. I mean, they're definitely...
No, I didn't think so either.
But I just meant in general, if like, or if it's like we'll just animate whatever.
I wonder because I mean, you would think that the point of animation is that you can do whatever the fuck, but who knows? One of the things that helped really sell it for me eventually, though, despite Megatron's lips, we could also just call this episode Megatron's
Despite Megatron's lips.
Was the sound foley whenever like there were like 4 or 5 Autobots in a room talking, and all of them moving had gear noises constantly, and like their hands would move and they'd thunk and fall. And I was like, all right, that's pretty great. All of you make a lot of incidental noise.
Yeah.
Because you're all giant fucking machines.
Giant fucking machines. That's a different
giant
show.
fucking
There's a title.
That's how you know it's anime.
Okay, so moving on from that, let's talk about Umbrella Academy, also over on Netflix, and season 2. Did you guys get to watch all of this yet?
I did.
I am about 3 or 4 episodes in.
Okay, Kyle, we're going to spoil some stuff for you.
We're going to spoil the living shit out
I
of Umbrella
completely
Academy.
understand.
So-
can we at least talk about the setup before we get into spoilers?
Yeah, so I want to first say, I don't know about you guys, I saw most of the reactions from my friends were that they thought season 2 was better than season 1, but I did see a couple outliers who said they thought this season was a train wreck. I definitely fall into this was better than season 1, and I loved season 1.
I really enjoyed season 1. I didn't know the comic at all.
Yeah.
And I don't have any real knowledge or love for My Chemical Romance.
Right.
Which is where the writer came from, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of the built-in audience for this, was like, oh shit, Gerard, what's his face from...
Gerard Way
from My Chemical Romance is doing a comic book. I can't wait. And then I saw the setup of the comic book and went, cool, so your band I haven't heard of is doing X-Men.
So here's the
I'm
thing.
sorry, X-Men with a villainous Xavier, which is called Doom Patrol.
So having read Umbrella Academy and being equally skeptical, the reason I read it is because the art is by Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba, who are stunning artists, and I like both of them. I couldn't tell you exactly how much is in the comics and how much is in the show because I'm a little fuzzy on the actual stories despite having read them a couple of times, but I do really enjoy them. But I also think it is just possible that Daniel Way, I lost his name.
Oh, Gerard Way.
Gerard Way was written into existence by Grant Morrison because this stuff is so Morrisonian and in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so the actual person was written into existence.
Yes, I think
Morrison.
Grant Morrison may have created him.
Yeah, that tracks. I could see this being like I'll
get behind that.
Yeah. DC reconsolidated something at one point, and this guy was just left out.
Yes, exactly.
Still alive, ambush bug style. Yeah, I could see this working. So going into the first season, not having any love for that, it took me like half the first season to get the chip off my shoulder about this being my beloved X-Men ripoff.
Interesting.
Of like, why didn't you just why do I not get a really good X-Men show, but we have this? And
see, for me, the first season grabbed me as soon as the dancing scene. At the end of the first episode, when they're doing they pull back from the house and we see them all dancing, I was in love with it from that point.
I really liked it, but I was still just mad about its
I get that
existence, and so it took part of the first season, and so the second season had none of that problem. I was on board. I was so ready for this to come back. I was so ready to see Klaus again and number 5, who, while yes, he is a giant asshole, God, I love number 5.
Oh, he's so good.
He's so good.
You know who he reminds me of? Who is that guy from The Deuce, the porn director who was also in the American Pie movies and Harold and Kumar? He used to be like a comedy actor, but now he's like chubby Jewish guy who plays a porn.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about.
He goes on a diet in there.
David Krumholtz.
Yes. This kid is like doing an impression of him, but like better than he does it. So it's like if you could put that actor in this kid's body.
I think they did. I think they really picked up on what the actors brought to the character. Because the first one, they were trying to do the comic. And I think in the second season, they really picked up on what the actors brought to these characters. And as a result, I think Rumor in particular, Allison really got to grow a little bit in this. She had such a great arc.
Her.
Really, I love her in this season. In this season,
man, fuck her character. Fuck Allison Hargraves.
What? I love her arc in this season, where she's trying not to use her powers.
You mean where she refuses to use her power every time it could help somebody, and then every single time she uses her power, she immediately shows why she should never have it?
Yeah, that's why.
All you had to do was look at the dude and say, "You serve black people now," but instead you burn his hand in front of your fucking feet.
But that's the point. The point is that's
after
why
refusing to do anything with it.
But that's why she doesn't use the powers, because the power corrupts her. Like
she's just she's useless at her power every time.
But that's
There's
not
so many
her.
opportunities where she could.
But that's the point. That's her power. It's her
Vanya
power.
is better with her powers at this point. Everyone else practiced. All she did was get abusive with it.
But I think it's that the power, because it is psychic. And maybe I'm reading into this, but I think it's basically when she tries using the power, she becomes a different person. And that's why she.
I think you're right. I think she can't stop herself, and that's what they're trying to convey. But it makes her fucking useless.
And I feel like the thread with this, and you see it in a lot of other stories too. But like everybody's power is also their weakness in some way.
Yeah.
Even who's the knives guy? Who's like badass at combat? Diego, who essentially has like no big flaws like all the other characters. His flaw is just his personality.
Yes.
Oh yeah. He gets in his own way.
What does they call him? Low rent Batman? Oh, think Batman, but aim lower.
Yeah. Batman, but aim lower.
And poor Luther, who just is so love struck that he can't function.
Yeah,
I love.
No, with Allison.
Or with Allison. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. When he's just a giant puppy. The biggest dude I've ever seen standing on our porch like someone killed his puppy.
And then what they did with Vanya this season was
that's
also...
the other. I'm sorry, before I get off of hating on Allison Hargraves for a moment. That's the other thing. So on top of sucking with her power and never practicing with it, except to just abuse her way out of a marriage and lose her kid. How fast did she move on from Luther? Like, did she started clearly courting him. I mean, I know they show it all in her episode, and it's a sweet year-long courtship before they get married. But like, how long was 5 missing? You know what family you're in. You can't. You don't think y'all all got scattered? Like, other ones managed. They dropped 1 year apart. Like, she got married. I realize she's the only black woman to land back in the 50s, and so like she's not a fucking person, or 60s, so she's not like a full human in the country really, and I get trying to function like that, but that hurt. Like as soon as when you realized she's married, I was like, how fucking fast did she?
No, because
they landed a year apart.
They all legitimately believe that.
You guys there? We got a little freeze going.
Yeah, we're here.
It seemed like she woke up in time and went, oh, well, we're just never going to see each other again. I mean, this is definitely the weirdest thing that's ever happened, and I'm done being a Hargraves.
So here's what I thought when I first saw that, because I also had a gut reaction, but my reaction was she got thrown back in time, and she's now a black woman living in the 60s.
That's the only reason I could justify it.
How can? So I even thought that she was manipulating the guy at first. Like she knew, okay, I got to find a man.
But no, her heart was just open to love.
Navigate to this. I don't know. It's also the whole thing of like you're trapped back there. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. I feel for her.
Well, I am so not with Les on this.
Like all she had to do was get into a room. I mean, like,
but she didn't know. She can't go into this room. If she does it, she doesn't.
I
know
heard
what's
a rumor
happen.
that you don't have a problem with black people.
But she doesn't know what's going to happen when she starts using her rumor powers. She doesn't have control over that. It's not. I mean, I get that you're seeing.
So,
this,
like, hey, Ray, here, I'm going to hand you a sheet of paper with a thing written on it, like a cue card. You hold it up. I'm going to say it out loud to that person, and then you clock me in the face. The fuck?
I don't know, man. I think you're being way too
Everyone else,
here.
Vanya. The only reason I say it is because, like, she has the power that she absolutely can't use, but Vanya gets better and better with her power. Like, Vanya is better with her powers than the person
but
who...
But Vanya also ended the world at least twice.
Yes, but rumor's been part of a team that used this power.
I don't know.
It doesn't work for her character arc for me at all.
You've got a weird thing with rumor, man. I don't get this. But let me defend her. Let me defend all of. They all say at some point they thought that this was it. Like they got dropped back because Five talks about it. He's like, yeah, I know what this is like. You think that this is your life from now on, and you just go forward. They all did that. I mean, Luther goes to work for Jack Ruby.
Luther feels like he's killing time. A lot of them feel like they're killing time. But she married someone and settled down. She would have had a kid and never used her rumor powers again. I got everything, I watched my husband get beat to death by a cop in the street, but I didn't use my rumor power. Woohoo!
Man, you got a completely different thing out of Allison's arc than I did.
You know what?
Because she fucks over everybody.
Randy, if Les went back in time, he'd be like, we got to kill Hitler. We'd be irresponsible not to. You'd be the kill Hitler guy.
I want to talk about Ellen Page and Vanya, though, because I thought Vanya was the weakest and most boring character in the first season.
Absolutely.
And I love Ellen Page. But I think because they let her be more Ellen Page here, and they let her be a lesbian, and they gave her this relationship.
Oh, her whole thing with Sissy and Carl and Harlan and all of that was
so
great.
Good. That's a through line. And the big reveal that Harlan's gotten some powers, that was always good. But the star of this, and I'm not, again, I think they're bringing them, I'm not sure how much of this is in the comics. Just like Hazel and Cha-Cha were a big thing in the first season. The what's she called? Not the director, but the handler.
The handler.
Kate Walsh's handler and her daughter is so good. And the reveal at the end of the daughter is one of them and can mimic their powers was such a great reveal. It's almost as good as when the entire organization shows up in that field to try and take them out of the farmhouse.
Oh my God, yes, yeah. I did love when Five. I love Herb.
Oh yeah,
at the time thing.
Yes.
But when they ask like, so Herb, I need a favor. We need a briefcase. And he just got up, sweeps his arm. This fucking field of corpses. It's like, yeah. I enjoyed Vanya getting I feel like it's a much better arc this season. I actually even really like how they handle her amnesia, and that doesn't. The way they handle it could have easily felt like a cop-out.
Oh, for sure.
And it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't. I really believed that her character would go about it that way.
Can we talk about... Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I had two things kind of about the start of this. One was, I think what a lot of people are going to dig about this, and I'm surprised they didn't try. I guess they kind of did this in season 1, but they start off with a bang, and you're like 5 minutes into the first episode, and you get a great like team up action set piece.
That's where I was going. I wanted to talk about the set pieces because there are some phenomenal set pieces in this one. You can tell their budget got upped, but that opening where it's the alternate, the Soviet invasion. It is the apocalypse we're trying to prevent, and they do that sort of Avenger-style pan around and show them all using their powers is so cool.
I wanted to... So one of the first things I said to Lisa when we were watching this was, you can tell that the first season confirmed whatever their real budget ask was.
Yeah.
So that for season 2, Netflix went, fine, here's the other $30,000 you wanted, or whatever. I don't know. But from even down to just Luther's suit... I mean, like Luther's bodysuit blends better into him. He looks so much better. He doesn't look like a guy fucking in a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen or something.
Yeah. Also,
and I mean, everybody's powers work better. And also, the character I felt like, though I loved the arc with Mom in the first season.
Yeah.
Diego ends up being the character that I was surprised they made me really like and care about this season.
They really did.
I didn't really give any shits. I did not like him first season, but I didn't really care about him. He was just this gruff, low-rent Batman who didn't want to have anything to do with the family, where I'm like, but have something to do with the family. That's where the story is.
Yeah, so I want to talk about set pieces because one of my other favorite set pieces is Diego. And his throwdown with his much younger dad.
God.
That was such a good fight.
Who kicks the shit out of
that? That was like Daredevil level. Like
it was
Daredevil level.
It was great. Yeah.
And it actually, the flinch, everything about it really, I mean, like even him getting stabbed, his dad, amateur.
He was so good.
Though that happened, so that fight happened... I think right before that fight started, I had literally looked at Lisa and said, I'm shocked that they have made me care this much. Like, I really love Diego this season in a way that I had forgotten he was part of the family first season. And then we watched that fight scene, and I went, you motherfuckers. Because I really thought I really thought he was done, and I was like, it was right on the line storytelling-wise where I couldn't figure out if this was... No, there's no way he'll die. We're like 2 episodes into the fucking season. Or, no, we're 2 episodes into the second season. They just got me to care about him. He very well might be dead here.
Also, I think one of the reasons that Diego's story works is the addition of the handlers. Leela, yes, I was looking for her name. Yeah,
Lila.
Yeah.
Or Lila. Damn it.
Yeah. That was...
Oh, God, his slow realism, like, 5... being so much slicker at figuring out what people are doing.
Yeah.
And so like 5 is figuring it out quick, and then Diego's just like dumb puppy. But the vacillation between like Diego being kind of a dipshit and being kind of in love and wanting to ignore some stuff, versus him being a Batman tactician. Like he's not ignorant about this shit. And there's a couple of times where like Lila tries some bullshit and he like, no, but why did you do this?
Yeah.
That made no sense in the fight.
Also, I liked Fives taking out the board of directors. That was another great action scene.
And so in the other, he's not widely used, but he's a great effect. And one of the reasons I knew that they had more money, they call him Carmichael, I believe in the comic, or they call him fish. AJ. In the comic, I believe he's Carmichael.
Yeah, the fish.
So
he looks exactly like the fucking artwork from the comic to me. Like he looks perfect.
And
perfect.
It looks real. Like it looks like a real fishbowl on somebody's head.
The message in the fishbowl was awesome. Realizing with that, like, there's so many little moments with him that are. It made my day. It was the same kind of warm fuzzies as like the first time we saw artwork out of Del Toro's Hellboy.
Right.
Like the very first, like way back. I'm just like, some of this might come to screen. Holy shit. The opening umbrella shots, just like first season, are still just stunning every time.
Somebody who, gosh, there's so much good about this show. I'm like, nobody is going to be talking about this. But Kevin Rankin, who plays...
He's so good.
Oh my God, he's so good.
Yes. And you always see him be a sleazebag. So as soon as he popped on screen, I was like, just don't make him a sleazebag.
No, he wasn't. He was good.
No, he's so good.
And he paid for it.
He was, yeah. But no, I thought that was a really great role for him, and I was like, oh yeah, this is great.
I also really like the Luther and 5 and 5 episode. That was really fun.
Yes. I loved the whole time psychosis thing. Kevin Rankin's character, I'm trying to remember his
I can't remember his name
Dennis
either.
Weirdo.
Yeah, it's Elliot.
Elliot.
Okay.
Him when Luther's all sad after finding out that Allison's married somebody, and he's like, "I've got some nitrous.
You want to do some nitrous? Yeah.
You want to do some nitrous?" And they get wrecked. Like, you look like a gorilla. Don't worry about it. We're all going to be dead in 6 days.
So, because I have to ask Kyle whenever we watch a British show, what percentage of this is Britishisms? Les, how much of your appreciation for Umbrella Academy, what percentage is because it is a time travel show?
Easily 60% of everything is because there's time travel.
And their time travel is great. I love their time travel.
We should also mention all you have to do is dye an actor's hair white, like blonde white, apparently, and I will never recognize them again because the lead Swede, like the head Swede, who looks like a young emaciated Michael McKean, like it looks like Saul's brother with a dye job come to kill you. That is I'm like Chris. I'm blanking on the actor's last name. He's from a Canadian show called Lost Girl. Where he plays Dyson, this cop werewolf who's fucking awesome. Like, Dyson's the shit. And is just a great character. And, like, I think Melissa Giramonti pointed it out of, like, yeah, you can't beat that actor. And, look his name up now.
Dyson is the character's name. Chris Holden Reed?
Yes. And so Melissa was like, can't beat Chris Holden Reed. He's such the greatest. And I was like, oh my God, all you have to do is dye his hair blonde, apparently, and I don't recognize someone I've seen in a 6 or 7 season show. Like, Lost Girl ran a long time.
When I saw those characters, I was like, did they just look for, like, 3 dudes in Hollywood who had their grays and were like, oh, I got something for you guys?
Well, that's the thing, like, I think that dude's fairly young.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely... I think only one of them has that gray hair. It's the tall one.
But I loved the 2 of them, or the 3 of them.
So much good stuff to like.
God, speaking again of like Allison using her power in a psychotic manner.
Yeah.
I think you're right. She just absolutely can't use it at all. Like, she's as world ending as Vanya.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it is like Vanya's power. I don't think it's her. I think it is that her powers, and I think that's what has screwed up her life. I don't think she probably meant to destroy her marriage. She was probably just like, well, let me tweak things a little bit, and then her power just fucked her. It's like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing.
Also, do you think that there's any bit, because another part of me wondered, I was like, I imagine people of color think of this all the time, like, what if they were plopped back into another time in history when it wasn't good for them?
Right.
Do you think there was
any
a part
time
of her
prior in history
that was like, oh no, I need to experience this because, I had the privilege of not, poor choice of words, but like, do you think there's any part of her that was like, no, I can't take the easy way out because these people can't?
When she talks to Luther about, I think it's to Luther, about being back and like, no, I haven't used my power since Vanya slit my throat in the first season.
Yeah.
And that helped me understand it a little bit of like, partly I could see her not being sure she could still do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you healed back. She couldn't talk for like half a year.
Right.
But then separately, I could see her taking this as a fresh start.
Yeah.
Having used her power to wreck her life in 2018, now she's back in 1961 and has the opportunity to never once use her power in this new life.
Yep.
And I could see that. I just still felt like it was a very like, oh, thank God this has accidentally divested me from my family and from being who I am. And I can now just be Allison Hargrave's civil rights, or Allison Chestnut civil rights.
Then again, I
Crusader.
think all of them want to be divested from their family because, Hargreaves did steal them from their actual family.
Oh, yeah, it's a terrible family. I mean, Klaus, bums around, God.
Have we not talked about Klaus and Ben at all?
Oh, yeah.
We didn't talk about them at all yet.
Klaus and Ben, like,
the cult.
Klaus's cult, Ben and his girlfriend, like, I love the constant running thing of Klaus never remembering her name.
Yeah.
The girl that Ben has a crush on.
Uh-huh.
And then later there's a reveal that, like, Klaus has had lots of sex with her.
Yeah.
And still doesn't know her name.
Yeah. Klaus should be someone you just loathe. He should
Man.
he should be the brother from Haunting of Hill House where you're like, oh, dude, your life is like, I understand it, but your life is so fucked. You fucked everybody around you. You're an addict, but he's so likable and so winning, even though he is destroying people's lives.
Oh God, when he shows up at Allison's just shit-faced drunk, having fallen off the wagon.
Yep. And his whole thing of trying to rescue his love from the Vietnam War.
God, Dave.
Yeah, was so good. And it's like it's when you see him, It's not unlike what Allison goes through. It's like when he tries to use what he knows, when he tries to step outside himself and help other people, it goes badly.
Backfires.
And then he's like, well, fuck it, I'm not going to try. I'm just going to drink.
Yeah, what I mostly take away from Umbrella Academy is that these were a set of children raised so badly that they suck so hard at being people that they can't use any level of power.
Right, yeah.
Like, if any of them had been raised by, like, people and had some level of, like, compassion and like, maturity and, like, didn't need endless hours of therapy, they might be able to handle the amount of power at their fingertips.
Right, but
as it is...
Hargreaves weaponized them instead.
Yes, as it is, they are all weaponized, so that all it is, like Vanya doesn't use her power... except if somebody fires a fucking bullet at her. It's entirely like reactive, emotional, defensive. Like Allison won't use her power until it's like, I heard, and like you can see the mean girlness on her face and like, fuck, you're about to say like, I heard a rumor that you ate your own hand or something fucking crazy, aren't you? All you needed to do was have him put the knife down, Allison.
I think also I was thinking at one point that Hargreaves and his group of Majestic 12 people were going to be revealed to be the ones who created the commission.
Same. I thought that Hargreaves and his 12 were going to be the commission, but the only reason I put that aside is that they had showed the guys in that room, like the 12, talking about killing Kennedy.
Yeah.
With him going, I don't know that this is really... And I was like,
that's
sorry,
that's
Kennedy is so fucking far beneath
that's too small for the commission.
time. Like, that wouldn't have even merited their minutes. Like, 5 would have been killing him. That would have just come off the switchboard and into a tube, and 5 would have killed Kennedy, and whatever, we're done.
Do you guys want to hear what my prediction is, since I haven't seen the end of the season?
Oh, man.
Go for it.
Yeah.
So, my out there prediction is that in the first few episodes, Diego is obsessed with saving Kennedy. And we also get the premonition that in 10 days the world's going to end. So it feels like the show is going in a direction to where they actually save Kennedy, and that somehow brings on the end of the world. So they now are responsible for killing Kennedy.
So I don't want to spoil the ending for you, Kyle, but the ending that they gave us here, when they were walking up to an ending where I thought they were going to do like, oh, it's, because the first is a big cliffhanger. The first season's a big cliffhanger ending. And I thought, oh, they're going to go a different route this time. They're going to give us sort of the happy ending for these characters. And then they gave us a cliffhanger, a monster cliffhanger where I was like, I want season 3 right now.
Yeah, so as we were wrapping up, because, part of the reason I love Umbrella Academy is that, Kyle, you're not right, but you're not wrong.
Yeah,
like you're all you're Jeremy Bearmead here. Like you're all the rights and wrongs. Fucking time travel, man. But
the dot on the I.
Yes, that's what broke me. So right before they were getting ready to kind of wrap it up, like going into the last episode, I was like, man, I don't really know how they're going to wrap this. It's going to leave me wanting season 3, because I don't want this story cliffhangered. Like, I don't want this Kennedy bullshit. Like, I don't want the 1960s stuff cliffhangered. I don't want them having to keep being here. Like, I loved this season, but we're good. Like, I didn't want it to... Like, the end of season 1 basically felt like, hey, did you love season 1? Because we fucked it up and we're going to have to redo it.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want that again. And I was like, how are they going to leave this in a way that I really, really want a season 3?
Yeah.
And they did. So I feel like here is where we should put in the holy fuck spoiler.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about I'm going to go fill my water up and I'll mute
Do it
until you guys give me the signal.
I actually don't want to do this.
Yeah.
All right. There we go.
So we've been talking about the wrong show, man. Season 3, or I should say, season 1 of Sparrow Academy. I am really, really looking forward to.
So
one of them is a goddamn cube. One of them is a glowing fucking green cube.
Yeah.
And one of them is Ben, because Ben was not in the room.
Right.
And he doesn't know Ben's. So he made notes and was like, "Well, I'm never doing Umbrella Academy. You guys are clusterfucks."
Yep.
But he didn't know Ben.
Yeah, he didn't know Ben, so he still recruited
And
Ben.
that's why Ben is Sparrow Academy, but Ben still died.
Yes, and also, no, Ben's alive. He's alive in that.
Is he alive?
Yeah.
Oh, is he the one that walks? That's right. He's the one that walks
he
out.
walks in
He's just
and
got a
he's
big
like,
portrait. He's number one.
He walks in, he's like, who are these guys? And also, it means Pogo's back.
Yes, in a sense.
I'm so excited to see what the world of Sparrow Academy looks like. I cannot wait. And also, I thought that one of the things we didn't talk about as much is that the season 1 and season 2, they did a nice echo. Season 1 was all about the dysfunctional family and their relationships and preventing the apocalypse. Season 2 is about the same thing, but in a completely different way. So I don't know what season 3. I mean, season 3, I presume, will also maybe also involve an apocalypse, or maybe not.
I'm gonna love seeing the Umbrella kids basically teach what they've learned about why this is fucked up and not a good family, and this is what a real family ought to be to these Sparrow kids.
So, and the other thing I'm not sure about, did Lila come back with them? She didn't, right?
I don't know.
Because they made a big thing about her joining, and then I think something happens where she gets knocked out or maybe even killed. I'm sort of a little fuzzy on that. But she, I don't think, comes back in time with them, which is too bad, because I kind of like the idea of her joining the family.
Yeah, and I like her. I like that actress as well. I'm excited to see what they do with the Sparrow kids. I love the reveal of...
that was a weak signal, Randy.
I love the reveal of what happens, or what we now know about their father.
Yeah.
So spoilers are over? You guys sound like you're still spoiling.
Spoilers are over.
We're still spoiling. Okay. Well, I don't know. Is that the very end stinger?
What's that?
Is the reveal about?
Yeah, the reveal's the big stinger. Yeah.
I mean, like of Hargraves.
Yeah. So yeah, we all really enjoyed this, Kyle. You're gonna love the ending of this. You're gonna have so much fun watching the rest of it.
So I also have to wait for my lady because she loves this too, and I kind of snuck ahead of her.
I want to rewatch it. I love it so much. I'm astonished. Like it. When season 2 started, I knew we were hitting the ground running because I didn't have any of that chip on my shoulder and was just stoked to see it. And it's just wonderful.
All right, so our last show of this week is we've talked about like full seasons from Netflix, and then we're jumping back over to Disney Plus, who are doing the crazy like the Hulu model of like here's one episode, and it's Muppets Now, which is they had a Muppets reboot that was like Muppets as The Office.
That was terrible.
Just called The Muppets.
On
The Muppets.
ABC did that, I think.
Yes.
Yep.
And so this is,
and the whole thing was dark and cynical and weird.
It was not good. And this is a new iteration that's basically like the different Muppets. The conceit is that all the Muppets are in different reality shows, and
they're all basically doing their own different like streaming channels. And this is exactly an update of the Muppet Show.
Yeah, it's sort of,
down to Scooter being the showrunner.
As a pitch, it makes sense, especially if I like but didn't love the new Muppets movie, and Scooter's like their character that he's the guy that introduced in the movies, right? He's the
no. Gary's in there. Gary turns up in this episode.
Okay.
But Scooter's always been there back from the Muppet Show days.
Right.
He was Kermit's showrunner.
So they're the conceit is that they're uploading these things,
PA or something.
So it's like Miss Piggy has a trends show, and
Lifestyle.
And the Swedish Chef has a cooking competition show, and there's one more. What's the other one? Oh, it's Kermit's like interview show. And
there's like weird Muppet skills, and then Kermit does an interview show.
So here's the thing, I'm starting to think I only like the Muppets in theory.
Well, I before you land on that,
yep,
I don't think this was necessarily done well in concept. I think in execution, they got HBO, they got Disney Plus money.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, this is Disney
Plus. Yeah.
They got Disney Plus money. They got like lots of big names that kids know that are coming on here. But just in terms of like do we need another Muppets show right now?
Yeah.
I think the answer is no.
Yeah.
I think we didn't need that ABC show either. Now, the new film, I actually was a pretty big fan of that film. So after watching this, I was like, maybe I only like Muppets if Rainbow Connection's involved.
Yeah, I don't know. There was stuff I thought was fun. Like when they did the Miss Piggy stuff, I thought it was kind of fun, and they had her like do her beating up of the face massage.
Tay Diggs.
When the face massage woman just hauled off and clocked her, that was I saw it coming, but it still cracked me up. And then of course she retaliated in her way, and Tay Diggs is like, "What happened?" Like that was fun, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of fun." But then it went all downhill from here. I thought the Swedish Chef thing was really terrible, and also I get the Swedish Chef is supposed to be like this weird character. We're not supposed to understand him, but do not give me a character who doesn't tip. What are you thinking? Especially right now. I'm like, don't make me hate the Swedish Chef.
That was so weird for him to be a dick about the tip.
Yeah, that is not.
It was really odd.
It is not funny.
It's
in general, I did like the
joke
Swedish
kids
Chef thing.
Get.
Yeah.
It's a joke directed towards adults, and it's not a funny one.
Yeah.
I did generally like the Swedish Chef bit though, just for the other chef, the actual chef that they had
cooking. Yeah.
Just watching him like, what?
Yeah.
Like just watching him cook. Her reactions made that bit for me.
I agree.
The Miss Piggy bit, the slap part was definitely the best physical, like the physical comedy gag was the best part for me. But I felt like the show got a little stronger as it went. Like mostly because I settled into what I've seen a lot of Muppet Show. It used to come on Hallmark Channel at like 5 something in the morning when I was having to catch the bus to go to UT. And so I would have to get up like stupid early to catch the bus, and like there's not a lot on. So I watched a lot of Muppet Show like first thing in the morning, and they aren't. I mean, they're groaners. Like they aren't. They aren't knee slap funny most of the time. Like it's more like none of these jokes are gold, but there's a million bronze jokes. And so a little bit of what I settled into on this was feeling like they should have done what we've seen recently of dropping 3 episodes of something at once.
Yeah, you're right.
I wish they'd given me a little more to play, like to know what I'm biting into, and then gone to a 1 episode a week thing.
Well, it is weird.
Also, I want Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah.
They should have had them as the money men or something.
Or them
and like
tweeting,
all these supposed
or them tweeting
notes
at them. Yeah.
All these supposed notes should have been Statler and Waldorf on a Zoom call with him, with Scooter bitching at him the whole time.
Well, and you know what's really disappointing, and the Sadler and Waldorf thing is a perfect example. Those original Muppets shows, they all took place in a theater, and even a lot of the movies, they were like, we want to get this theater production made, like,
and that's what they're trying to, I think, do with the streaming channels. But
but it's like kids already know what streaming. Like, I don't think you need to like get kids to fall in love with streaming channels the way you should be trying to get them to fall in love with theater, which is something I feel like as technology. Like
you're 100% right. You're 100% right, Kyle, because that's what it is. It's that they're in trying to modernize. You've lost a lot of the charm. You want them to be these guys who are like vaudeville stars, who are trying to bring back theater, who are trying to do you want this to be more Hamilton than YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the tweak that would have worked for me a little bit better on that setup would have been to find out that all the Muppets live in a broke-down theater and are having to quarantine together. Because it seems like, I feel like they picked the streaming thing not just to modernize it, but because it's something that they can fucking make right now.
Yeah.
Like, these are all minimal number of people in a set. I don't know that they shot all this now, but I'm wondering now on shows that I see that are coming out, when there's only like no more than 3 people max in a scene ever.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but it seems like to me it would make sense to pick the streaming thing as something you could do like the Parks and Rec special in isolation.
Yeah. Although I have a feeling with these big stars and Tay Diggs, and I have a feeling this was shot pre-COVID. I don't think you probably put Tay Diggs in a room with some puppeteers and they're like, well, we're probably fine. I don't feel like they did that.
Yeah. I would still like to have seen
the people wouldn't have traveled for it.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
During COVID.
I still would love to see, instead, all the Muppets in a broke-down old theater, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, everybody.
Yeah.
And they've got to figure out a way to get in on the, like, well, no one will come to our shows. Hey, isn't there a thing called streaming?
Yeah.
And them have to, like, figure out how to put the show on and get it out.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. And like, that would have worked, and that would have kept that old school, like, because part of what works like you said, but Randy, do we only love the Muppets in theory? Part of what works here is the nostalgia.
Yeah.
Just like we were talking in Transformers, like part of what helps get you in immediately is already knowing a little bit about these characters.
Also, there's
part of that is them feeling permanently trapped in the 70s a little bit, and you should lean into that.
Yeah, there's a couple really notable things missing here, I think. One, you mentioned Braun's jokes and groaners. There was no Fozzie anywhere.
Oh, for real?
There's not a Fozzie segment in this first set. And
he pops in,
but like he's like in one of the little pop-ups, but he doesn't have a segment or anything. And I'm like,
no, he doesn't have his own segment. He just pops in.
This makes it a good argument for you. Like, give us 3 episodes. Like, if you launch without Fozzie, what are you doing? And second,
there's barely much Gonzo. There's like,
but he at least is in it. And second, music. Kyle referenced Rainbow
there needs to be a musical
There needs to be music. There needs to be a musical number. The Muppets should sing. That is part of what they should do.
And the Muppets almost always... So, the original Muppet Show, like, let's be real, it was pretty much the Lawrence Welk Show with Felt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, and you kind of love it for it. And so, like, when I started seeing reviews of this, of, like, it's not the on-fire spectacular that I wanted it to be. And I was like, the Muppets are never going to live up to that. They just can't. So I feel like the expectation has gotten past the tipping point a little bit with the Muppets.
Well, do you know?
And it's part of why I wanted them to do multiple episodes, because I wanted to see. We need to see our favorite Muppet. If you love Rolf, you needed to see him on.
Yeah, no, Rolf. Yeah. Also, you remember some of the stuff? Do you remember when Weezer made a video with the Muppets?
Yeah, I remember.
That was a lot of fun. So where is? I mean, and I understand Disney, you know, is a small mom and pop company. They don't have any resources. But where the fuck is like Lizzo? Why is there not Lizzo doing a video with the Muppets? Why did they not get somebody like? Why don't you get some stars and do do that person singing an arrangement of their song with the Muppets? Just like the one I remember, and I don't know if it was Linda Ronstadt. There was somebody in the '70s show that did "I Feel the Earth Move Under My Feet," and it was with the Muppets as background. And it's so memorable. It's burned into my brain from when I was a kid. Like there should have been musical numbers, or there should have been big musical guests. Like bringing in RuPaul to do a fake interview where the gag is that one of the Muppets is a super fan. That is weird and off-brand.
And I'll be real, that super fan bit was one of the funniest things they did in the whole episode for me.
Yeah,
was him answering all the questions ahead of time.
But it got old fast.
Can I tell you guys where they missed the mark with this?
Yeah.
Or what they should have done? Because I actually saw what this could have been just by coincidence this week. So my nephew is a toddler. And one of the craziest times is right before bed. Mm-hmm. And what they now have, I'm not sure what channel it's on, but have you guys heard of the Not Too Late Show with Elmo?
Yeah, it's on HBO Max.
Yeah, so essentially it is a late night show, but for like young kids.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, same kind of stuff you'd expect from Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers. But when it's time to like start mellowing down, pop this on, you know, get the thumb in the mouth and like start chilling out. And had they said, okay, we got this Muppets property, and done like a Fozzie late night show that was maybe geared towards kids a little older, I think they could have had something really awesome here. But instead it seems like,
oh God, I would watch the Larry Sanders Show with Fozzie.
Oh my God. Yeah. So this is what I'm hearing is not the Muppets it's not that I just like the Muppets in theory, it's that they haven't executed well for a long time. But I will say this is better than the ABC Muppets.
Oh, by a mile.
But
a couple of things changed between then and now too. The voice of Kermit is not the same guy.
Right.
So they had a falling out with the guy that was doing the voice of Kermit, or something went down there, depending on, I think, which article you read. Either he feels that they were going a totally wrong direction with the character, or Disney feels, or Muppet honchos felt that guy was taking a weird personal ownership of Kermit. Huh. But either way, like, interviews with him, you could tell that the previous person doing the voice seemed to have this idea that Kermit was always down.
Yeah.
And that's wrong.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Things are always not working, but Kermit is always rallying the team.
Kermit is the eternal optimist in the face of utter chaos.
Yeah.
And so, and like that little turn made me a little more excited. Like, okay, they've at least tweaked a couple of things between that last show, which was weirdly dark, like nothing was working. Kermit and Piggy broke up, and the show almost gets that's the opening of that plot of that show, and right. It's hard to, like, everything's wrong. It's like you drop into the second act of a movie you didn't want to see.
Yeah,
and so I will be watching more episodes of this to see if it settles into that comfortable groove of groaner funny pun show.
Yeah.
I really come out of it, though, just wanting to go watch old Muppet Show episodes.
I think that there's a way, or there's a thing that the original Muppet Show did where it was for kids, but it wasn't a kids show. You didn't talk to them like they were children.
Yeah.
And to say that this is doing that, I think would not be correct. I think that this show is kind of still talking to adults. Like you mentioned a tipping reference. Like kids don't know it, especially today when that's done on like a phone or on a credit card receipt. Kids don't know what tipping is. Right. And it's like there's a difference between making jokes for adults and talking to kids like they're adults, which I think is where the sweet spot where the Muppet Show could really improve.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm glad they're not giving up on it, but I feel like every time they do one of these shows and don't quite hit it, it takes a little bit out of what is remaining
for them
to get to do with this property. But I hope they keep trying it. I want them to get it right. They can.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we pitched 3 different shows that I would have watched. Just casually off the top.
And damn it, I want Larry Sanders with Fozzie in the hot seat.
I'm now kind of angry that isn't what we got.
Dr. Teeth is the band. Yeah. I mean, Electric Mayhem would be the show band.
They also brought back Muppet Babies. And that, too, I think they used some type of computer animation for it, and I was also disappointed with that.
Mm-hmm. But the damage effects were really good. Like, Fozzie had that scar over his eye. It was really fantastic. Oh, that was
I mean, they've been fighting in a war for a long time.
All right. So that about wraps it up for us this week. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Les.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you to all our patrons. Thank you to all our listeners. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you are a patron, you can go over and listen to our bonus episode about Samara Weaving. If you're not, hey, maybe become a patron. You can listen to that bonus episode and like hundreds of others. But
so much good stuff.
Until next week,
TV Dudes out.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener-supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.